Christina, don't be worried. Well, maybe be worried. I'm deconstructing. So I am definitely going to say up front that I'm kind of going through this phase where I'm rewatching all these old movies that I grew up with and wondering if it's doing anything to my soul or like what it did to my soul and how it may have impacted me negatively. But also just like have fun with it too. Just, you can still enjoy the movie, but we can also be critical, just like makeup. So I thought that what I would do is just like pop on and do these random ass lives because I don't really know. Like I can never decide if I want to talk about this while I'm doing makeup or whatever, and if it will go over well. Like I can't ever decide. I'm like, should I do this or should I not? Hi Manders. Hi Olivia. Oh my gosh, I didn't really think that I really honestly felt like nobody was going to show up because I know a lot of people are going back into work or whatever. So there's that. I'm having coffee at like 9:14 and I don't want any judgment. Okay. So also I'm a kind of a slurper. So if that makes y'all like annoyed, I'll try to like mute whenever I drink my coffee. So I will try that because like, I'm a natural slurper. So slurping is my thing. Hi, Emily. So first of all, thank you to everybody who showed up live. Sir, you know better. Stay out of mommy's bag. So first of all, I want to say thank you for all of you who are showing up live. Hi, Tracy, all the Emilys, the Lisas, the Angelas. Cupcakes are nice. I like that name. I like that handle a lot. Like, yes. Oh, good, Carly. I'm glad I could be of service. So I'm going to tell all y'all who just came in. My goal with this is really just being able to look at these movies critically and still enjoy them, still have fun. There are ones that I'm genuinely not going to enjoy ever again. Like, that's fine. Bless you, son. But there are others like this one I still enjoy, but when I like started deconstructing it, I was kind of thrown off. So I don't want anybody taking this as like, you can never enjoy the movie. It's not about shame. It's not about like any of that. It's just being able to look at the movie. You're right, Emily, I got it. It's just being able to look at the movie critically and still have fun with it. So for those of you who don't know, Drive Me Crazy was a movie made in the 90s, and it's a teen update. Well, the other one was teen too, but it's an update from Can't Buy Me Love, except this time without like the whole hookery feeling. Like it's definitely without the hooker feeling. Don't worry, Tracy, this one is not horror. So, and that's another thing. I'm not positive I'm going to keep doing Terror Tuesdays as often as I have been doing. So, yeah. So the thing is, Bo, baby Jesus, what are you doing over there? Good gosh. So the thing about Drive Me Crazy, it's an update of Can't Buy Me Love. And instead of Patrick Dempsey and that other woman, this stars Melissa Joan Hart and Adrienne Grenier. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell y'all, this movie made me think that, like, before I was going to college, this movie made me think that all white girls had like just this randomly bitchy, hateful friend. And I just was always looking for this like randomly bitchy, hateful friend, because the woman who played her was just like, and she always played that character in a few movies where she was just like randomly bitchy, and they never explained her random bitchiness. She just was like that, and nobody knows why. Also, just quick note, I finally got my nails from Poland. I know you guys are in Poland. We'll talk about it later. But Angela, we don't. I really did. I just thought like, I was like, I'm going to go to LA and every group of white women that I meet is going to have this just like randomly evil, bitchy friend who like hates you for no reason. Like you did nothing to this friend, but they just hate you. So I legitimately was always like kind of keeping my eye out, like which one is it? So so that did give me a complex because they don't ever explain why she's such a bitch. So a quick rundown of the movie is basically that Melissa Joan Hart, her character is named Nicole, and she, you know, this is the 90s. So this was also like that kind of new female empowerment we had going on, where it was very much like, oh, hey, we're here, we're putting our lives together, we have life plans. And she wants to go to prom with Brad, who is dumb. He is so dumb. Like, rocks are smarter, flies are smarter. And I don't, you know what, flies are dumb. Flies are really dumb creatures. Like, witchy vibes cannot communicate with the fly to save my life. I can communicate with all kinds of creatures. Flies, a no. He's dumber than a fly. He's so stupid. And then hey, hi Toya, I'm so glad. I really like your picture there, by the way. I've always, like, anytime I see that picture, that I am, maybe I was always the bitchy friend and I didn't know. Yes, a himbo. He was a himbo. So he is like super stupid and she's trying to get him to take her to prom, but I guess he falls in love and he is not taking her to prom. So she's already like full on just like, my plan is ruined. I can't, like, I've done all these achievements in high school and I didn't work this hard to not go to prom, which was still like the antithesis of what we were trying to do, I guess, at that point in time. And on the polar opposite of that spectrum is her childhood friend, Chase Hammond, because I almost called him Hambone because that's his like popular name. Chase Hammond. And Chase Hammond is like that alt grungy dude who went around with his girlfriend, played by Ali Larder, who also had like the hair streaks. And it was kind of like not really done. Like alt girls in the 90s had a problem with brushes then. Like they just didn't like them. So she kind of had that like grungy, like I put color in my hair and I don't care about it because like I'm an alternative bitch, fuck you. Like that was her vibe. And so I'm like, that was her vibe. And then so he's dating her and then she ends up breaking up with him because he doesn't want to save the animals. Like they go to rescue bunnies, which if you've seen 28 Days Later, it's really a bad idea to try to rescue animals from those places anyway, because it's going to end up bad. But they've both been dumped. And what they want to do now, well, what Nicole wants is to not be like left behind. And unlike Can't Buy Me Love, which has a currency exchange, which we'll talk about that movie some other night when I rewatch it. I know. It really was. It really was like they were just like, I put the color in my hair. I don't care about my hair. I've dyed it all these cool colors, but like, whatever. Like that was always the attitude, just like, whatever. Like it's just color. It's just hair. But they did it in like not that like. What happened to Adrian Grenier? How do you say his name? His last name sounds like a fancy drink. I feel like after Entourage, he just fell right off. But I guess he's falling into some other movie called Stage Something, which is about a drag club. So I'm like looking at what y'all are saying. You know a super smart Brad, but Deja knows a dummy. So then what she does is she's like because they live next door to each other. They were childhood friends. So Nicole is all like, yo, I've got a plan. I can't go to prom with Brad and you can't go with Alternatich. So like, why don't we show them what's up by being a couple? So like, that's her thing. She's like, let's be a couple and it'll be like super cool. So she devises this plan. And again, no currency is exchanged. Now, I know that I keep harping on that, but if you look at Can't Buy Me Love, even though I still really love that movie, it is really gross that he kind of basically that really is upsetting. The money exchange just grosses me out. It's just like, ugh. So there's no like hookery going on. Hi. Hey, corn dogs. If my stomach would accept corn dogs, I would eat them, but it won't. It absolutely will not accept corn dogs. I've tried it. Every time I've tried it, it's ended in diarrhea. You guys didn't want to know that, but now you do. Random fact in a live, what's up? So now she's like doing the whole makeover. She's going to take him out. And because Nicole is all like put together, you know, she's preppy and she's like smart and she's on like student council. And, you know, they go and she like gives him a preppy makeover basically and turns him into 90s prep guy, which means he looks like every guy. And then, ooh, turkey corn dogs. Wait, where did you get them? I need to know. You're going to have to DM me the brand because I don't know how to get such a thing. That might help me. Because it's like, I really like the crust. I said the crusty. I really like the crust. Ooh, I'm going to try some. Y'all are helping me out. Thank you. Oh, I love you guys so much. I mean, I love you all so much. I'm still working on that. Oh, give the cat all the pets. Give the cat all the pets. So so then Nicole gives him a, you know, preppy makeover, and then they go to a basketball game, and there's just like this, you know, the typical thing where like the band is playing, like bam, 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 go fight, win, bam, 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 bam. Oh my God, I know the song. I'm hurt. I'm so hurt. I am hurt by that. Like, it hurts my feelings that I know the song. I know I just watched that today. But anyway, and like he has kind of an embarrassing moment, but he starts like fitting in, you know, with the cool kids and the prepsters. And then eventually like he kind of gets tired of like, he's like, listen, we're doing all the things that you want to do, Nicole, but what about my alternate life? And the Donnas are in this movie, and they play a band called the Electrocutes. Cutes. You get it? Because they're girls and they're electrified. Okay. So then they go to their like weird alternate dive bar place where the Electrocutes are playing. And of course, like Alternabich's friends are trying to figure out what Nicole is doing there. Nicole, her last name starts with an M. And so Nicole Maris. And so they're like, what is Nicole Maris doing here to even like watch the Electrocutes? And one of them is Black alternative because like Blackish, like she's ambivalent, ambiguous. She's just like she's a non-white alternate girl, which was cool at the time, but she's really bitchy. And at one point they're like talking about piercings, and one of them's like, not as bad as my nipple ring. And then, you know, Nicole's like, cool, can I see? Showing that she can put up with their bullshit, you know? Hey, learning is a part of life, Quinn. And today we've learned something new. Like, yes, the Donnas. That was like they were so, Yes, she was like the token POC person. So it was just like a whole deal. You haven't even seen this movie. Look, if you have Stars, if you have the Star streaming service, it's on there if you want it. And if you haven't paid for it yet, like if you've never bought the Star streaming service, you can get like a free trial usually if you have Amazon streaming. So get on that, because then you can watch some of these movies. Yes, that is very creepy, because it's like the cool kids didn't even really, they weren't even mean to him when he showed it, because he had like the perfect makeover. His hair was slicked. He had on like a leathery jacket. You know, he looked like, I don't know if he had on the leather jacket there, but he looked very preppy teen. And then, you know, he was just like, go fight, win, you know, doing the thing. And then also, like, they gave him, you know, a popular guy nickname, and it's Hambone. They were like, oh, what's up, Hambone? So, and I don't know why that has to be part of like dude culture in movies. Like, that's a thing that's always bothered me. And all of them is like, why do they have to have these weird like nicknames that aren't cute? I'm an air quote bitch, and I don't want to hear any shit about it. Yes. The Donnas were the shit, man. I do gelato because dairy ice cream destroys my whole life. I've never seen Victoria's, but yeah, they call them Hambone. And then we have to remember that there is a girl named Dee. She's like this cute little quirky thing, and she has this sort of abusive boyfriend who's just like gross, and he has dark hair, which we should know. Like, he's dark hair, somewhat like sexually aggressive. So we have to know that he's a bad guy because he has dark hair and he's tall. And he also has douchebag face, you know, like that. He has like the douchebag features where he's like, so anyway, they're at the like Alterna bar and having a good time with the electrocutes. And then of course Bo, geez. So then, of course, he runs into like his Alterna bitch, you know, girlfriend, who now has like a college boy who's like wrapped around her like an octopus, which was like weird, because I was like, girl, but I thought you were so independent. And yet here you are seconds after you broke up with the hottest dude, with like basically a guy, like, ugh, I don't know what his name was, like Gregory or something stupid. No offense to anybody named Gregory, but his name was like, because, you know, college guys, like, you go from high school and your name's Greg, but then when you go to college, you're like, I'm Gregory now. So that's what happens. And so she's with like Gregory, and he's like, oh, octopus on her. And then Nicole sees this happening and is like, I am not putting up with this. This is not going to happen. So she walks up to Chase and is like, ow, 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 ow. And then it wasn't like that. This is, you know what? This is why I'm going to do like these lives like this, because if I would edit that out in filming, to be honest, not an octopus. Yes. It's just like, yes, it is the movie with Adrienne Grenier and Melissa Joan Hart, which I swear to you, why is there like, I'm going to make a drink and I'm just going to say I'm drinking a Grenier from the like moving forward. Like, I'm just gonna be like, I'm having a Grenier. Whenever anybody asks, like, what do you have in your cup? Grenier. Yes, Tracy, that's why her name is Divine, because she did used to be fat and she didn't want to be called Bovine because her name was actually Bo. And then her last name is Vine. And she gets into that later when she's talking to Chase about it. And she was like, we're kindred, Hambone, because she explains the story and that it's a contraction, and she had it legally changed because what kind of parents would name their child Bo and their last name be Vine? Those people are irresponsible. So straight white boy nickname, first letter of your name, then add. You are so right. It hurts because that's true. How many people we used to call like T-Dog. Oh gosh. Oh wow. That, yes, exactly. See, we're making like drinks out of him. Oh my gosh, it jumped so fast on me. Sea dog. Oh my God. This is so true. It was just ridiculous. No, like L dog or L bone is not going to work for you. We're going to have to like do an action with yours. I'm trying to think. I do not know. Q-bone. Oh, that is awkward. I was called A-Dog. I really was. I was called A-Dog. That's embarrassing. This is getting embarrassing. Oh, yeah. L money is it. There you go. You have money, dog, or bone. Those are the things. Those are the things. It was like, what's up, Team Money? What's up, E Money? What's up? Like, why are we doing this? Oh, see, this is hilarious. So, anyways, the whole thing goes down. They make out. They're going through their thing. Meanwhile, randomly, angrily, bitchy white woman, I can't remember her name. We're going to call her dark-haired evil because she had dark hair, obviously, because she was evil. So obviously she would have dark hair because she's evil. So she has dark hair. She's evil. She's mean. And she's just spreading lies. Like she's trying to get Brad's girlfriend to break up with him. And you think that it's for Nicole, but no, it's not because her evil machinations know no bound. So then she, evil woman ends up doing so much. Like the dark evil does. She's just doing too much in this whole movie for no reason. And it just doesn't make sense. Then after all of this, after all the work that they've put in, it ends up that evil woman, not only is trying to get Brad, but also gets mad that Nicole is no longer interested in having Brad and actually likes Chase, who, by the way, we find out the reason he didn't help Alternabitch rescue the bunnies is because his mother passed away from cancer. So obviously he didn't want to be in a research lab. And then Alternabitch realizes this and was like, oh my gosh, I was being so harsh on him and he does have direction. So she's like trying to get him back. And he's like, maybe, but he's at a party and Alternabitch like is trying to do some shit. She ends up making out with him kind of. He doesn't, it's not like a voluntary makeup, but he doesn't stop the makeout from happening because apparently he's also stupid. So of course Nicole sees it and she's like crushed. And now she's going to go to the prom with like his friend who's kind of weird, and she was the only person who gave him a Valentine's card in like third grade or some crap. So like they're still cool or whatever. And then he has decided, like Adrian Grenier, I can never say his last name. You guys, this is sad for me and it hurts my feelings. So anyway, your name is raven-haired temptress. That is it. Yes, please like this stream, because if y'all like this, whether you are watching this live or you watch it on the replay, if you like this, then I know that you like me doing these random pop-up lives just talking about old 90s movies. So in the end, basically, it turns out, of course, they end up together, and then so do their parents, which was creepy. And I don't really want to think about it, but like they end up together, they're kissing, and it's all like, oh. The music in this movie, by the way, pretty bomb. I was really excited by the music. The soundtracks from music and from shows, movies in the 90s were pretty darn good. I was usually very excited about them. Yes. So this is the thing. Okay. So when we're going to critically examine it, first of all, like, can we please talk about the mayhem that the alternative kids were doing up at that camp, like on that campus? Because like they put like orange Kool-Aid powder or something in the sprinkler system. First of all, how'd they find the sprinkler system? And second, why was it just open for them to do that? And third, how do you not get suspended for that kind of behavior? This is horrible. Like they were just always creating mayhem. And I just want to know the people who went to the high schools that had a video like morning news with video, please. If anyone in the chat or on the live stream went to a high school that did that, please drop a unicorn emoji, because I'm at a loss. So you have that fact that it went left there, but you also have the what I find is so disgusting and toxic about a lot of these types of movies is the idea that if the person you like or love has broken up with you, the best thing to do is to pretend, make them jealous. So just like get with somebody and make them jealous. Because quite literally, they did not actually have to like be a couple. They could have just been friends and helped each other heal through this and then fell in love. Like that would have been a good storyline too, that they ended up falling in love anyway while being friends, like actually being friends, instead of putting on a couple charade. They were just like, oh no, we're friends and we just hang out. Like, why couldn't they do that? But I digress. Because it just seems unnecessary, and it's harmful and toxic for us as like women to see that, and then for boys who watched it as well, like women and men. It's very toxic for you to think, just people in general, that if somebody breaks up with you, that what you have to do is like be in their space making out with another person. Like, if that's the thing that makes them decide that they want you, that's a weird way to get someone back. Like, now they only want you because somebody else wants you. So that's, to me, problematic, because it like, that's a toxic and gross, I don't even want to use the word toxic. It's a misleading and destructive behavior. Because if you do that, and then if it does work, that they only want you when you're behaving like that. If it doesn't work, then you feel like absolute shit, because it becomes clear to you that they obviously never cared. Neither one of these are desirable, so I don't like that. Yes, this is true. Yes. So it's just, it seems like it's a destructive behavior to behave, to like act like this. I don't understand why you would think that this is a normal thing to do. And yeah, because that jealousy plot is very, very bad for us. I just, in general, because I feel like I did that. You know, when I was younger, I would do dumb shit like that, thinking that's how you do things. If the person that you're with isn't like, or that you were with, and you kind of broke up or whatever, then what you were supposed to do was like make out in front of them. And if they cared, then they would like march over and be upset or call you the next day or something. But if those things didn't happen, then they didn't care. And like I said, both of those outcomes were undesirable outcomes, because neither one really told you that the person actually cared. And they also did not encourage any good communication. Instead of you just being strange and doing all this crazy shit, you really could just say, I'm really upset that we broke up. And if there is no chance for us to get back together, just let me know now so that I can go heal. Of course, this is 40-year-old me saying this, but I'm just saying. I know. Who are we making jealous? Everyone, Nicole. I did swell a bit at that. Who are we making jealous now? Everyone, Nicole. Okay, my tongue action has got to stop doing this. Just yes. And then to add on to something that Fefi brought up too, was this weird idea that permeates to this day, the I don't want to cheat, but I didn't stop it mentality. So there's almost inevitably these scenes specifically with women baiting men into kissing them for like some sick, perverse thing that these women do. Like, they're just, I don't know, these women are twisted who do this, but they're always doing it within eye line of the woman that he wants to be with. And she's usually doing it like some weird way. And then just like, and then, of course, who, I just want to know who looks over a split second and then is like, oh, they're kissing and takes off. Like, I just want to know. This also happened in, can't hardly wait. And that was reversed. So it's such a weird idea that, one, who's doing this? Who in their real life is baiting someone? Like, how did you get to a point in your life where I am hashtag tongue action. How did you get to a point in your life where you felt like it was important that you made somebody else jealous, specifically by like making out, like tricking somebody into kissing you? And then on the other side of it, especially that whole idea that they're like, well, I didn't want to kiss them, but they kissed. Like, why were you standing so close? So like, that's another thing. Like, I've never stood close enough to somebody I didn't want to kiss for them to lean in and kiss me. I don't know if you have. Like, I just haven't. That is a good rom-com. Jurassic Park is a very good tale about love, actually. See what I did there? Because I've had people lean in and try to kiss me, and like they've had to cover some distance to try to do so. And I'm like, ugh. Like, it was a very quick, like the movement is pretty quick. You can see when someone's coming into your mouth. Like, I did not mean for that to come out the way that it did. Yeah. The backpedal is real. Like, there are mistakes made. Well, there goes monetization for this video. So I just don't know how to reframe that at this point. I'm just saying, I've never been in a situation where, like, I've been in an unsafe situation where that's happened, but I have not been in a situation where I'm just like standing there and then somebody's like, tricks, I'm going to put a lime in your mouth. Haha, it's my tongue. Like, that is not a thing that has happened to me. Like, as soon as because they, like, here's you and then here's them. And then as soon as they go like this, you're like, ugh. Right? Like, you don't just sit there being like, are they trying to kiss me? It looks like they are. Like, it just seemed weird to me. Yes. So they really do set some very unrealistic expectations for us. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about these live, because I feel like when I trying to make a video about this, I don't feel like it's as much an interactive conversation because, one, I tend to hide from my social media quite a bit. I'm sure a lot of you know this by now, but I tend to hide from my social media quite a bit because it is a little frightening in some ways. Because I used to be, I tweeted into the void, I Instagrammed into the void, like nobody really knew. And now it's like not exactly like that. Not like I'm some big star or whatever, but it's significantly larger than it used to be. So it's very, I drop a video and I just kind of like, plus I don't want to get to a point where I'm super stressed out if any of my videos are performing well. And then I beat myself up. Like, I kind of did a little bit of that today and I don't want to do that. So this is good. That part. So also I'm going to put it, for those of you listening, and I said, also I'm going to put a lime in your mouth. Haha, it's my tongue, is assault. And that's so true. Like, these are behaviors that we keep getting taught in rom-coms repeatedly, that this is okay. It is okay for us to behave in these ways. So this really bothered me in a lot of ways, especially we have to pretend to be together, to be jealous. And then, and then of course, there's always the grand romantic gesture at the end, right? So the grand romantic gesture here is that, she's at prom with his friend, just like really sad about everything. And then when they reveal the prom sculpture, it's Adrian up on the top of it. Just like looking at y'all, he was smashing. He was looking really, really good. Like really good. He was a guy that I always wanted to see in like guy liner. I wanted him to wear like makeup, like Jay Gordon from Orgy. That's what I wanted. I just really wanted that. They do. Actually, every single one of the Jurassic Park movies has romance in them. Yes, and they're constantly normalizing these behaviors. So the other movie I want to talk about is Little Black Book. That starred Brittany Murphy and that one guy that's in a lot of stuff, but we don't really know why. I don't know why people thought he was attractive. He just looks like an average ass dude. I'm going to see if I can find him because he just looks like this average Dorcas, and I just don't understand why. And I'm going to tell you, I hate this movie, okay? Now, this is one I actually hate because I wanted to talk about two. I want to talk about Drive Me Crazy because I did like that movie and I still enjoy it. It's still fun to watch. It's still a good time. But 2004's Little Black Book is a horror show in so many ways. And it's movies like this that make me legitimately angry because movies like this have continued to create this kind of culture. I'm trying to figure out that dude's name. Ron Livingston. I don't know, like it's this guy. Hold on. Can I get the picture up? It's that dude. Like, I'm doing this guy so dirty. I'm just like, that one guy who's in a lot of stuff, but we don't know why. He just is, though. He just is. See? Yes. But and I don't know why he was playing. Did you say he looks like mucus? So it's just. So my number one huge problem with a movie like Little Black Book, this movie and others like it really pushed hard on normalizing looking into other people's social media and snooping on them. I hate this. I hate it. Okay. The amount of ways that I hate this is so high because the whole movie centers around Brittany Murphy's character basically being unable to just communicate with her partner. The whole thing ends up blowing up on live TV for her because she's like a TV show producer. I don't really know. But the thing about it was, y'all are always look at y'all looking at all these, y'all know him by all these movies and you're just like, that dude. Oh yeah. And he is in a lot of stuff, but we don't know why. You see? We don't know why he's here. It is because she spends all of this time and there's a weird marketing for the BlackBerry in this movie because remember that touch technology they had then, which never actually worked for most people. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they would you would just get two cell phones and you would smack them together and that's how you could exchange pictures and stuff, but it never actually worked for most people. Like nobody could actually be like, pfft. I think I have seen that and I need to go back and rewatch it. and we'll discuss that. So leave some ideas for a couple so that we can, do these when I do my random pop-ups. Most of my random pop-ups are really going to be about like rom-coms and how I hate them, and also the ones that I love. So yes. But they made it seem like you could literally touch them and just share data. Like if you had pictures, you could be like, Duke, and then like share pictures. And it just never, like, I never knew anybody who it actually worked for. Like I never knew anybody who was doing that. And they're like, oh, you could share music, and you like tap, and it never worked like that. Like now I have it, now you have it. It had a whole period of that. But she basically, with the help of this really absolutely, like, this woman was dark and a sociopath. Like when you go back, if you go watch this movie, the woman that she was like working with, this woman is a hardcore, like, she is portrayed as a sociopath. Everything she does is disgusting. When by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're like, not even a horrible woman, just a horrible human being. So Brittany Murphy ends up going through and doing all of this stuff to snoop on him. So she gets his contact information from his BlackBerry. She then proceeds to go visit all of his ex-girlfriends who she thought maybe held a special place in his heart. All of this, all the time, never once having a conversation. Like never once asking him stuff, never once just being like, and here's the thing, she was perfectly happy in that relationship until she started snooping. Like until she started snooping, she was happy in that relationship. The moment she started digging into his life and going back and seeing all of his girlfriends, it was just, and I hated that because there were so many movies that had that premise of like digging through somebody's personal information. She was listening to his answering machine because it was 2004 and people still did have answering machines. And, listening to his messages there. She's like just going way too, she befriends his most important ex-girlfriend. Befriends this woman under false pretenses and actually likes her and still continues on this gross path, because when she finds out that one of the girls he dated is a supermodel, like she just loses all confidence in herself. And I hated that because I was like, are y'all serious? Like, can we write female characters that aren't so ridiculously insecure that they would stoop to the level of going through someone's contact information, visiting all of their exes, looking at why would you do that to yourself? Like I would never want to go and look at my love's ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends. I would never want to do that. I am not going to torture myself with that kind of like, what kind of world is that okay in? What kind of world are you really happy with doing that? Oh my God. Did you say, don't forget to like and scribble scrap? I love it. Don't forget to like and scribble scrap. Okay, so so in Little Black Book, what she torpedoes her entire relationship by just not being able to have any trust. And the problem with that mentality, which is in several other rom-coms, of looking in his phone, looking at his ex-girlfriends, looking on his social media, stalking his Instagram, like they're normalizing stalking and in such a way that it's also normalizing this idea that if you can't see these things, then you have no trust, right? It would never occur to me to be like, hey, New York, let me look at your phone. Like it would never occur to me to do that. And the fact that people think that if they don't do it, they're hiding something. And I'm just like, well, no, like I don't want anybody I don't even like my mom on my phone. Are you serious? No. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like she had, and the worst part about this to me, like there were so many worse things, but it was just terrible because she was having a really good relationship with a guy that she loved, and it was perfectly fine, and they were having a nice time, and she wasn't comparing herself to anybody, and she thought that she was so happy. And then she discovers that she's unhappy in the relationship only after she does all of this heinous shit, which all of it gets exposed on the show Kippy something, Kippy, and it's played by the chick, the lady, not the chick, but the lady, because she's a lady. She was also Misery, and I can't remember her name right now. But of course, I have my cell phone, and why don't I use technology when I have it? I'm always yelling at people like, you have a computer in the palm of your hands. And I'm sitting here like an idiot being like, what? Kathy Bates. So played by Kathy Bates. She plays Kippy Can, the Kippy Can show. And it's basically like a Maury type show or like Jenny Jones. And she ends up getting this whole thing exposed on television by this woman who was supposed to be her friend, who this is why I say sociopathic tendencies. This woman completely set her up so that she could have like this live TV show experiment. And the entire time that the horror is unfolding live on TV, this woman is sitting there like, going close, do this, do that. No, this is greater than anything I've ever done. It's fucking weird, y'all. Like, it is weird. That, like, what I was watching that and I was just like, why didn't I catch this the first time I watched it? Like, I knew that, like, you kind of knew in a little way that this woman was setting up another woman. But when you really go back and rewatch it, it's really upsetting how far this other woman went to set up Brittany Murphy as a character. Like, went to great lengths to humiliate her on live television. Like, this woman, the confidence, it's played by Holly Hunter, who, by the way, I love because everything Holly Hunter's in, she's like, hey, guess what? I'm Southern and I'm not changing that in anything. So I love that about Holly Hunter. It's like one of my favorite things because in every movie she's in, she's like, I'm Southern. And you're like, I guess you are Southern. Yeah, that's Jenny Jones. Her TV show, her whole thing was destroyed and ruined by stuff like this. Yes, rest in peace, Brittany Murphy, because she was so talented. Honestly, she really was. Well, see, here's the thing about this. This is the thing I had to learn. I don't need to snoop in your stuff. I don't need to throw it in your face. I don't need to find it. If I have a feeling you're doing something, I'm going to ask you point blank your answer and how you behave. Because here's the thing, when you ask somebody point blank to their face, are you cheating on me? Their ability to lie, even the best liars are not prepared for you to say something straight to their face. They're not. They're prepared for everybody to just dance around it. They're prepared for you to even like try to get proof and try to find stuff. They're prepared for that. They are not prepared for you to like look them in the face and go, are you cheating on me? Because then they have to like gather up the story that they're going to tell you. I feel like for me, anytime I felt like anybody that I was with was doing something shady, I was just out. I had we're not going to have a conversation. There's not going to be a big fight. I'm not throwing anything. I'm not digging through your shit. If I have a feeling, that's all I need to know. That feeling is there for a reason. That weird feeling you have, it's there for a reason. So for me, it's like, I don't need to look in your stuff. I don't need to find anything. That weird yucky feeling I have in the back of my neck, that's all I needed. That's really, yes. You don't even set it up. You just ask them, just be like cooking dinner and then be like, are you cheating on me? And look at them. Because they're not going to be able to like prep. Their reaction immediately is going to tell you everything you need to know immediately. And whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. That is your business, but at least you know the answer, right? So the fact that Brittany Murphy's character was having a perfectly good relationship. I feel like it was fine, but really she finds all these cracks. And the only reason that she found any of these cracks was, one, because she was snooping, and two, because she wouldn't just ask him. She was too scared to look him in the face and go, you said you don't bring women to meet your parents, but we've been together for a while. So, I mean, I think it's weird. Like, that's kind of an important step. How are we supposed to have a relationship if we don't know each other's families? So it's just stuff like that where basically they continuously paint her into being this sad, insecure woman who's been made insecure by her mother and her father leaving her home. So of course she has zero trust in love and no trust in men. So it's just weird to me that like her whole basis is like, well, I'm blaming it on my mom for like me being dumb. And I'm just like, or surprise, it's your fault. Like if you had an undercurrent where you thought in any way, shape, or form that your relationship wasn't what you thought it was, then you thought that before you started digging through his shit, number one. And then number two, then get out of the relationship. Like, why would you be dating somebody that you're just like, I didn't even know this, or I didn't know that? Like he made a comment about the supermodel, which is what prompted her to wonder why he knew anything about her. And instead of her just saying point blank, like, did you date? She just sat there like, oh, did nothing. Oh, Aaron. Whoa, that's crazy. Exactly that. Like we keep trying to teach women to like give men additional chances. And of course, this is 2004. So a big difference here is that she ends up finding herself. She doesn't need a man now. And that it ends with her just like being secure in herself now without a relationship. The problem for me is that like, I feel like too many of these movies always have so much strife in order for women to find themselves. And while that may be true to a degree, I don't think we all have to go through a struggle. And I feel like that's the reason it's true, because we watch movies like this and we think in our heads that if you don't have some kind of grand relationship struggle, that it's not a relationship. Like it's not actually love anymore. It's not, you don't have a true romance because there wasn't some giant struggle that you had to overcome. So it's not really a romance. Ugh. And that is weird. That whole, like, you can't talk to another, that's weird. Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron. I am so sorry. Oh, I think, okay. Thank you. Because he's painted as the successful guy. Like, I just didn't even find him, like, listen, Ron Livingston is nerd. He's not attractive. I tried. I don't find him attractive. I don't find him to be an attractive leading man. And so it's like this guy dates this supermodel, and I'm just like, how though? Like, how did they? Because she was the friend of his true love, Juvia, I think is her name. And somehow he just ended up like, that doesn't even make sense to me. What do they always look like? Yes. He's a 3 on a good day. Yes, this idea that it's like, love is a battlefield, like that idea, that has to die. We have got to stop. And here's the thing, I we can have romantic comedies, but I kind of wish that, no, I really wish a lot of them had more substance to them. Instead of, like, if I were remaking this movie, first and foremost, I would have had her like asking questions point blank, and then he's just not telling her the truth. And then that's why she goes to visit these women, not even like digs into his personal information, but she just like goes to visit these women just because he's like made offhand comments. And then she's like, oh, did you date? He's like, oh no, like, but she starts feeling that there's something off in their relationship. So instead of her being all Snoop-like and going through all of his shit and doing all of this weird stuff, I really think that if I was remaking that, the comedy would have been in her actually, running into these people, meeting them, and asking them directly about him, just basically calling it like she worked for the studio, right? But she's interviewing them, and like she did in the movie, but instead of just like being random and lying to them about why they're there, full on interviewing them for her show and like asking about him in particular and being like, we're doing a piece on him, and like still doing her little, lie things so she could find out about him. But instead of like this, like female against female aggression, just eliminate Holly Hunter's character being just like aggressive against another female and just like throwing her under the bus, and really showing Brittany Murphy's journey in this movie of discovering how bad it is for you to pit yourself against the ghosts of somebody else's past. You know what I mean? So really have her just like interviewing and finding out this stuff, and then realizing that she has to start changing, like being more honest with him. And then her taking this information and just learning to be more honest with him, only to find out that she just doesn't have anything in common with him, and realizing she's been on the wrong road this entire time. And then she breaks up with him because she has grown as a person. But it's still funny, like it's still funny, her interviewing and doing all this stuff, but it doesn't have, like, there could be shenanigans, but it doesn't have to be so tacky and hateful. Oh my gosh, Tracy, really? Yeah, I do have the full-on hardcore Audra glow going today. Thank you, Christine. Yes, a big carrot, it does not last forever. I mean, because it's so weird to me that the idea of romance in these movies is always about strife and battle and the female aggression. So Drive Me Crazy and Little Black Book both had this female on female aggression that really came from nowhere. And it was always disguised as friendship. That's the other thing I really don't like about a lot of these movies, is that it's disguised as friendship, but really they're just like horrible, evil women. And you're just like, why can't you just be friends? Like, why does there have to be some sinister friend who's really just like low-key trying to take you down for some perceived slight, like you didn't even actually do anything to them, they just hate you? Because then Drive Me Crazy, she hates Nicole because Nicole's Nicole. Like, that's it. She's just like, I'm tired of getting your slim pickings, and I'm tired of you getting everything that you've ever wanted. And it's like, but you do know, like, you could go for things that you actually want instead of trying to take everything Nicole has. Like, I'm so confused by you, girl. You're supposed to be modern, and yet you're just a weak ass bitch. Okay, so sorry. Oof. No, because they still ended up not together. Because it's like romantic in that she's like, but you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe it does disqualify it a little bit as the rom-com, but I just felt like they really could have made this like a fun thing. Or even when you end it like that she is meeting somebody and just really being herself, like, because she doesn't like hockey, so they could actually end it with her like getting her dream job working for Diane Sawyer, I believe is who she wanted to work for, and then she's like super excited, she's going to, going on her date or whatever, and then the guy that she's meeting, he's like, hi, I'm what's a good stupid movie guy name, like Craig. And she's like, hi, I'm Brittany Murphy, and he's like, oh, it was a good hockey game today, right? You like hockey? And she's like, no, I'm actually not a hockey fan, which would work out because she doesn't like hockey, and so she was pretending to like hockey for her old boyfriend. Ending solved. I'm looking at what y'all are saying here. Y'all said Kyle. Fucking Craig. I'm so sorry. To anybody named Craig or Kyle, Brad, I am apologetic that media keeps ruining your names and y'all just keep getting thrown in. I'm so sorry. Like there's Chad, there's Brad, there's Kyle, there's Craig. Justin is also like a good one. They just have these like, because let me see, what is his name in this movie? Let's see what the lead character's name is in this movie. Oh wait, that's not my code. I'm over here like, wait, that's not my passcode. Derek. His name is Derek, but it was also 2004. But that is a good, like, that's a movie hot guy name. And I don't know why that's a movie hot guy name for a guy who wasn't hot. Anyways, my brother's name is Guy. So I feel like between these two movies, my unrealistic expectations of romance for a really long time were that strife was required in order to have an acceptable romance. So strife was a requirement. If you weren't having some kind of like big, I can't sit like that because that makes I just realized how weird I looked. Like my bones are jetting out. I'm sorry. But that's something that I learned from those, is that you just also, it really made me feel like you're like, if you didn't have some evil bitch friend who was trying to take you down, then did you even have friends? Did you? And then also that, you're supposed to forgive, especially in heteronormative, you're supposed to forgive the guy for a kiss he did not want, yet did not stop. Like, that always bothered me so much, how often that is played out, that she's just like it, and he's like, and just like the thing is, he doesn't do anything to break away from the kiss, like, almost ever. And by the time he breaks away, it's too late. And then also the idea that you wouldn't even confront someone who's done that. Like, I get that we're at a party, but my ass is not about to get played like that in public. No. So we're gonna have a conversation. I don't care if I'm getting loud. I'm gonna go over there and be like, listen, what happened? What happened? Because the thing is, Nicole, and Drive Me Crazy, she didn't even listen to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, she just saw her bitchy friend kind of kissing him and just like, and like, that was it. No communication. So that's another horrible thing that rom-coms did for me. No communication. Like, you just learn that you're supposed to suffer in silence and like not actually communicate with your partner. Like, they're supposed to know that they have messed up somehow in your fake relationship. They're supposed to know that they've messed up. And then from there, like, they have to do a grand romantic gesture. That is the other thing. The grand romantic gesture. How many of you guys, y'all, I almost got it. Like, most of the time I get it. But how many of y'all legitimately have waited for, like, in a fight, you've been waiting for your significant other to like perform some grand romantic gesture? I just want to know. You call every guy that irritates you Richard, regardless of what his actual name is. Yes. Because, like, this is poor. It's always poorly written in that women are supposed to see this kind of action and not confront it. We're taught not to confront these kinds of things. And like, this is why that like snoot idea is so bad and it has been ingrained in us. It's like, I know. We're all sitting here. We're all intelligent people. I'm never going to say like, oh, media ruins our lives. But I am going to say, as much as I wanted to believe like I'm too smart and I'm better than this and I'm too intelligent for this kind of shit to get to me, I had to realize like it still seeps in there. It still seeps in here. It still gets in, whether you want to admit it or not. And when it does, I just want to be able to like have these conversations so that if you have any of these behaviors still, or you had some of these behaviors, you're kind of able to figure out where some of this came from and like unpack it and stop doing it. Yes, the grand romantic gesture. We were always waiting for this. Yes. This is very, like, I love this, Amanda. Women are taught to forgive men's anger and women aren't forgiven for their emotions. Exactly. Because you will often see the male lead be like, you're acting crazy. And then she'd be like, I'm crazy. Like, that's always the line. She's like, I'm crazy. And then like, Beantown, you got nothing. So few RomComs often have women fighting over Mr. Joe Average. And it's weird. Like, he's never the hottest guy you've ever seen in your life. It is always these just kind of dopey looking dudes where you're like, where did you come from? Like in Something Borrowed, which I'm never going to let that go. It's going to come up, I swear, in every stream because it makes me so mad. But like that guy, that guy shows up randomly also in movies as like, he's like a low rent hot guy. Like there's a hot guy who's significantly hotter than him, but costs more money to cast in movies. So he's just like the low rent version of that. What was that guy's name? I'm going to look him up. Oh, I have seen a few, Gabby. I feel like I just finished watching the whole first season, the whole first re-season of, what was the name of that show? I watched it all the time. Gosh, bless it. Now I can't remember. It wasn't called Lesbians, but like that's, it was on Showtime. And now I'm just like, it's called, like my mind won't let it go. It's just like, you know, it's called Lesbians. I'm like, it's not called Lesbians. The L Word. I guess maybe it was called Lesbians. Just kidding. The L Word was for love, I hope. Not lesbians. But here he is. His name is Colin Egglesfield, okay? Colin Egglesfield is just like this random, like kind of, he's like a hot guy, but he's like low rent hot. Does that make sense? Like, does it make sense that he's just like low rent hot? Like he's not like you wouldn't kick him out of bed, but it's just like they got him. Like he's like low rent Tom Cruise. Do you know what I mean? But taller, I think. I'm pretty sure he's taller. I need to go find out his stats because I feel confident that he's taller. But I feel like he's taller than I'm sorry that I said I'm going to get in so much trouble. I feel like people are going to be watching this on the replay, just being like, did she just fucking call somebody low rent hot? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm not like not current Tom Cruise, like old Tom Cruise before he got all like, I can only do that. If you're listening, you have to go back for the facial expressions because Kevin James did star in a rom-com. He did. and the lady who was wooing, way too hot for him. Way too hot for him. The hot guy when all the hot guys are booked. Yeah, Tom Cruise is not actually hot. Okay, there's literally one movie where I thought Tom Cruise was hot, and it's where he's like one of his most toxic characters, because most of his characters are toxic. But that's in Cocktail. Like that was it. And I swear it's because he was slinging drinks, not because he was actually attractive. It was because he was like doing hot guy faces. Well, I probably shouldn't have done the hand movements, but he was doing hot guy faces. Well, the two hands did not make it better, but he was doing hot guy faces while he was flinging drinks around. Does it do it better if I like do that? Oh yeah. Tom Cruise is like 5'6", y'all. Like Tom Cruise is like 5'6". Hitch is the reason that we have that like Russell Hartley, whatever guy. Is that his name? The guy in the suit who's like, I definitely don't get ass. You know, that guy that everybody's mad at right now? Ew, he was so gross as Lestat, to be honest. Oh, no. I did not like vampire Tom Cruise. Skeet Ulrich was 90s hot. He was 90s grunge dude hot. He was who you hired when you needed somebody who was tall, brooding, and like hunchy, did the hunch maneuver really well, because like Ethan Hawke really he really brought forth the hunch, the like 90s guy, like that hunchy shoulder thing that they did where they were always like, listen, Tree or whatever the fuck your name is, because it's the 90s and you have an unusual name because you're quirky and arty, and also you don't have time for my shit, but you're still madly fucking in love with me and will do anything that I say. And also we smoke the same cigarettes even though we're not supposed to be smoking cigarettes, and you come out on the balcony and we smoke together and talk about life. That guy. So sorry. Very much connected to incel culture. These movies, I am convinced a lot of these movies, especially because they are made by gross white guys, like gross old white guys who own all of the studios, have contributed to this because they're gross and they make these movies specifically for the guy that they were who couldn't get anything. So ooh, really? Like Ethan Hawke, I just feel like he gives off massive douchebag energy, like he just does. Y'all are killing me. The low rent Keanu Reeves. See, Emily, you told me that, but I wasn't going to take your story because you told me about that, and I was like, I'm not taking it. He just very much exudes douchebag energy at all times. Like he's just like, I'm too hot for all of these things. Oh my God, I still dream about marrying Keanu, but then he got with that lady and I was like, well, I dye my hair, so I'm definitely not going to make it. Keanu Reeves is an actual good guy. He's very attractive. And I like how so one of my favorite things about the first Matrix is when they come in and he's selling whatever that shit is whatever digital shit they sold at the time that was like digital drugs. I don't know. Digital drugs he was selling. And that guy comes in, he was like, what's up, man? You're looking paler than usual. That to this day sends me over every time in that movie sends me. I'm like, did he say paler than usual? I cannot. So yes. And that's the problem too. Like, because I feel like getting back to rom-coms, I'm so sorry. When it comes to incel culture, I feel like a lot of this is in fact directly related to the media we consume. And it's because, like, I think people sometimes forget that straight men do watch these movies, whether they want to admit it or not, but straight men do watch these movies. So, and these TV shows that also give off that energy. So, like, if you look at Friends, for instance, the idea that Ross just basically put his life on hold for almost all eternity. I mean, he married a woman, because if you look at the destruction, like how disgusting it is how they wrote this, right? Ross always loved Rachel. And he did get married, but his wife ended up being a lesbian. Y'all tell me why that was written that way. Like, y'all explain that to me. His less attractive wife. And the whole thing is that he spent all of his time just mooning over her as a grown-ass man. And eventually he gets her after he's still essentially like a creepy stalker that's just always everywhere Rachel is. Like, ugh. And you know what's sad about this? I didn't even watch all of Friends. I need to tell you that I literally popped in to watch Friends like 3 episodes a season. That's all I needed to know what was happening. And every time there was Ross. Pick me, Rachel. Pick me. Pick me, Rachel. Pick me. Like all the time. I'm so sorry. He was just super pathetic. Like, I mean, honestly, I would characterize that as pathetic behavior, because if, like, for anybody, male or female, this is pathetic behavior because, one, he has all of this time to just tell her straight up, I used to have the biggest crush on you when I was young, and, you know, when we were in high school, and now here you are again in my life. And I've always hated the will they, won't they, but the idea that, because then also on the female side of it, on the Rachel side of it, the idea that she even thought that she could break up with him and then just go pick him back up when she wanted to, hated that. Hated that too. Hated that with my whole heart, because I just thought, like, you cannot teach people that this kind of behavior is okay. You cannot teach people that as a man, you can sit there waiting for your dream girl to finally recognize you. And then you can't teach women that it's perfectly acceptable for you to dump someone and then expect them to wait for you. And because there really isn't such thing as like a break in a relationship. There really isn't. Like, you're either together or you're not. It just is. It is that way. You're either together or you're not. The in between, you can have it be complicated, yes, but you are either together or you're broken up. Anybody who's ever looked at me and said, like, oh, I think we're on, like, should we, take a break? I'm like, as long as you know this break includes me, like, doing what I want. Like, I'm not going to sit here and wait for you for all eternity. And I'm not going to sit here and moon and be sad. I want to go date and stuff, because I'm not going to miss opportunities while you're trying to figure out whatever it is you're trying to figure out. I don't know if most people have. Do not apologize. Yeah, I mean, it really, these kinds of things normalize the idea. And I hate that I'm having to use the term normalize. I don't care. Whatever, Gen Z, come get me. But it's normalizing this idea that this kind of behavior is absolutely acceptable. It's acceptable for women to just basically put somebody on a back burner. It's acceptable for a guy to accept that, to say, like, yeah, put me on a back burner and, whatever. It is completely okay for you to just not communicate what's going on. All right, night, Nicole. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yes. And this is the thing. we'll all say that, oh, it's just a movie, calm down. But it is, these things do seep into our consciousness. Like whether we want them to or not, they do. Because if they didn't, then virtually no one would be wanting a big fucking wedding. No one would want a huge ass wedding. If any, like if we saw none of these things ever, nobody would care about having a ginormous event for a wedding. No one would care. Like it would never occur to you that that was something you should do, because it would never be something that was put in your face as like, this is what we do. When you get married, when you fall in love, you get engaged, and when you get married, it's a big whole fucking production. We wouldn't have this kind of behavior if it didn't, like it exists somewhere. We're not just pulling it out of our asses. So the fact that like many of you in the comments even said you were waiting for grand gestures after, you know, a fight or something in a relationship. We didn't just pull that out of our asses. We didn't just like wake up one day and be like, you know what would be great after a fight is a grand gesture. Like that's not what happened. Like I think that people really want to act like we just watch media and consume it and joke and laugh about it after, but it really does get in here. And as much as we want to be super intelligent, very much involved adults who can make up our own minds, this shit seeps into our consciousness and it does become a part of us. So I like to do things like this so that I'm constantly evaluating myself and how I feel about relationships and things I've done in my past, things that I want to prevent from happening in my present, you know? So I'm constantly going through these kinds of things. And that was one of the reasons why I rewatched both of these movies, because I was like, let me see if I remember these the way that I do. And turns out I did not. Like, I did not know how much I hated Little Black Book. I thought it was funny and quirky back in the day. And now I watch it and I'm like, I hate this movie with everything that I'm made of, because it's disgusting. The whole idea, the whole premise of it was gross. Yes. Yeah, the pseudo spiritual hippie guy. Yes. So here's the thing. Culturally, that's different, which I hope that this isn't taken in any way, but there were things that I wanted from other cultures that I knew I would never get to have. So one of them was a quinceañera, and the other one was it was an Indian wedding. I don't know how many of y'all have been to an Indian wedding. Oh my God. It's so beautiful. It's glorious. It's just because there are cultures where, and I got to go to a Vietnamese wedding as well. So their culture, you pay like for, I don't know about Indian, but for a Vietnamese wedding, the culture there is very much that the couple pays for the wedding, and it's a big deal. It's a big wedding and all that stuff. The couple pays for it, but they make all of that back and more at the wedding and reception. They make all of that back and more. So it's kind of cool. And I like that. Life reflects art, reflects life, reflects art. Yes, I love that. But is it though? Because I don't think any Black people would hang out with them. Just kidding. That wasn't nice. Like I wouldn't. Those people, I could not hang out with them people. I tried to watch Seinfeld, by the way, and it just was never my cup of tea. Like, didn't like it. Yes, doesn't bathe, unemployed. Yeah, he just like that guy always. Like he was in every 90s movie, and I just like there was just always that guy, and he was always just like, I mean, do you even know what you want out of life, Liz? Like like they always, the women in the 90s movies always seem to have like one syllable names. Like when they were like alternative girls, they had like one syllable names, and then they were always trying to like do something better for their lives. And then he was always just like, ugh. Yeah. See? Oh. His name was always Joey. See? That's a big wedding to me. 200 people at a wedding. Oof. No. Yes, Fern. Yeah, like thank you. I feel so good about like having all y'all here because I feel like I just feel like y'all are my peeps. Like y'all are my people. You understand my frustration. So I think what I'll do for this is I'll try to watch one that I like. Like I'll hopefully have one that I can still like and watch later and enjoy it, and also one that I absolutely hate. So in this one, Little Black Book is the one that I'm going to hate. They're like that's a I never want to see that ever again movie. And then Drive Me Crazy, I'm still gonna watch that because it's fun. It has a good time. There's and positive on Drive Me Crazy, a very good positive is that Divine runs into a predator situation where with her boyfriend, he's being on her, and she's like, no, and she cuts that off. She doesn't stay with him after that. So I did like that. Oh yeah, I'd heard that about Jim. Like they romanticized the crap out of him, but I understand from what I understand, he was very. I mean, may he rest in peace, but he was not a particularly nice guy. Thank you. That's the thing. It is not okay to teach people to have someone on eternal standby while you work through your issues. That's exactly that. I mean, if for whatever reason I had to work through some shit, I would rather just tell New York now, like I have some shit I got to work through, and you do you while I work through me. Because I don't expect him to just wait. Also, he's really good looking, so like I don't think he would. But. Right? Gender film studies. And here's the interesting thing too about like the alternative women and like so in Drive Me Crazy, the alternate girl this was so 90s, but because she was the antithesis of the popular crew, I just never understood why she had to be such a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't she just be different from them without being a bitch about it? Like, being shitty about them being popular, and you know, because like one of the things he says to her is like, I think her name's Darcy, and he's like, I didn't expect you to fall in love, Darcy, and she's like, I didn't expect you to fall into the Gap chase, which is actually a really funny line. But the idea behind it was just she was so self-righteous. So I was like, girl, you're really no better than the popular kids. You know what I mean? Like you're talking all this shit about these people, but you were just as elitist. And they were more accepting, the popular kids were more accepting of Chase coming to hang out with them than you were of Nicole coming to hang out in your world. So who's really the bitch here? Who really sucked? That is true. That is very, very true. Oh my gosh. Thank you. So Never Been Kissed we have in here. You know what? That is on my list. I haven't watched that. Is it called like This Is War? Because I think I've seen that. I like not the movie, but I think I've seen like I'm like seen it. I've seen it sitting there in my queue, like not my queue, but showing like you may want to watch or whatever. Because I try not to watch these on Netflix if possible, specifically because if you watch this stuff on Netflix, it starts like recommending it to you, and I don't want it to do that because I'm having a hard enough time just trying to get them to keep on horror. Ooh, speaking of things on Netflix, who's watching that new show with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I adore? And who else is in it? Is it Jamie Foxx? Is it Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt? I love 10 Things I Hate About You, and I will watch that because isn't that a remake of Taming of the Shrew, basically? A retelling, whatever we want to say. Because it's not a remake of Taming of the Shrew because like they didn't make that into a movie, so that would make me an idiot for having said that. And I know exactly which one you're talking about. I think. Ooh, Shallow Hal is hard for me to rewatch. Oof, that is hard because I've caught up on the end of that. That one's very difficult for me to rewatch. I have a very hard time with that movie. And it's so I'll tell you guys, I'll tell you all this, and then make sure we're dropping some rom-coms below. And then I'll tell you all this, and then I will exit for the evening. So, random fact about me, I don't even know what to call it because I've actually never sat and talked about this in therapy. And I don't know if I would even call it body dysmorphia, but I felt like I was very, very fat growing up. I was never fat. I just felt like I was fat. I wore very large baggy clothes for like, if I wasn't in my cheer uniform, I was in like really big sweaters, really big t-shirts, really big, pants and stuff like that. I just didn't want anybody to look at me because I felt really, really gross. I felt like I was disgustingly fat. Then, so maybe that is why I have the thing that, like the affinity that I have for fat people, where I like to watch fat people on YouTube. A lot of my favorite YouTubers are fat, and they're like my favorite. And why growing up, I always liked movies like Baby Cakes, all of these kinds of things, because I just identified closely. I don't know why. I don't know why. So I felt like that. No, I didn't hate my body. It's weird. I legitimately felt like I was fat, and I felt like I did not. And I think part of this came from me being tall in cheerleading, being the only Black cheerleader, and then often being the base. And they were all very petite and small. So I felt like I obviously had to be the fat one, and I felt like I was. So I was dressing in clothes that were probably 2 to 3 sizes more than me. And but I genuinely felt like that they fit. Looking back on it, obviously I had some kind of issue. So then, yeah. So I always felt like I couldn't use the term body dysmorphia because I didn't know if that was me. I'm getting like a little teary about like talking, because I just don't, because I still have issues with it today. Like when I pass by myself in the mirror or something, I'm confused sometimes by what I see. Like I know I'm not big now. I know that, but when I pass I'm like, oh, that's what I look like? Weird. So what, like, part of me doing some of these like fashion look backs is also me trying to like reconcile what I look like and stop being a fucking weirdo about it. It's just like, I don't know why I'm like this, but like, it's just very stressful because nobody wants to hear skinny bitches complain. I've said that before, but like, and I get that I'm skinny, but like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's weird. It's something I don't regularly talk about, and I just felt comfortable and started talking about it. And it's nice to see somebody all like, okay, then I don't feel as terrible. Like I don't feel like I was alone. So thank you all. So I just felt really weird about it. And I'm still working through it, I guess, because I just am like, that's me. Something I am still working through. And obviously I can't really afford therapy at this point in my life. But I work through it regularly by just, my affirmations and coming on here with y'all. Like coming on here talking to y'all actually helps me because I can kind of, do some more research and work on whatever I feel like is happening here. Cause like, it's just weird because there are parts that I know are small, and there are other parts where I think I have big thighs, but I don't know where I'm getting that from because I will see it. Like Emily's talked to me before on Marco Polo, and Like I'll make comments where like I'll see myself and realize that like, oh, I look weird, or I'll say something. Olivia says, I felt the same way as a teenager. I would wear huge clothes and constantly thought I was fat. It did not help. My family pointed out when I gained weight. Yes. I'm sorry you went through that. Good. I'm glad. Like these are the what I actually do these for myself every day. So what I started doing these back in 2016. Um, Probably maybe it was late 2015 that I started doing it, but then I also started putting it on Instagram. And it's what I plan for myself for that day, where I'm telling myself, like, this is what I need for today to feel good. And, because otherwise I feel like we're so hard on ourselves. And I know that throughout the day, you can just get harder and harder. So if every day I start with an affirmation, it gets harder for me to be nasty to myself all day. Like I have to keep picking myself. I get smarter and better about picking myself up. Like now, if I'm like, oh, I'm so dumb, I'm like, I'm dumb in the smartest way. And I'll keep doing that to myself because I have to keep a positive, not like positive attitude, but I have to keep treating myself well, right? You absolutely have the right to talk about body dysmorphia as long as you're not silencing fat women, which you totally are not. It's a topic for everyone. Thank you. I was just always afraid to really talk about the weird issues I had going on with my body. So I just kind of keep it to myself. Well, as soon as I get my car all legal, because I've been riding dirty for a while, so ooh, a belly dancer. See, for me, what started helping me was I started wearing more skirts because I would refuse to wear skirts. And I would always say, like, I'm a jeans girl, I'm a jeans girl, I'm a jeans girl. But I started wearing more skirts so that I could feel more feminine for me. Like I just wanted to feel my flowery femininity, the girly, like I don't know if it's girly, but my more feminine femininity, the most feminine of femininity. Is that the way that we're saying it? And so I started wearing skirts more often. And I also, when I started wearing rompers, like these are the things that help me because like I'm having to put together things that make me feel like, okay, and make me look. Oh, that's amazing. I wanted to do pole dancing, so that's a dream. I love you too, Emily. Thank you. I really do. Oh, y'all are gonna make me cry again, and I'm not crying again. Like I already got teary. I'm not crying again on YouTube today. Especially because, so the thing is, I want to do that because for me to do any form of exercise, like I don't like exercise to be exercise. I just like it to be a fun activity that I'm enjoying because for me, I don't get motivated by doing all that running. And my motivation isn't about me like losing weight or anything. Like it's just about me feeling good. Like my motivation to do things is that I want to feel good. And honestly, exercise does not make me feel good. I'm sorry. Um, I'm so sorry. I'm going to say it out loud. Exercise doesn't make me feel good. And like whenever I exercise, it makes me feel like I'm doing something that I don't want to do. So it's like, I would rather play a sport or pole dance or go swimming or do any of those things that are fun. That fun makes me feel good. But like lifting weight, like that doesn't make me feel good. Yay. Yeah. And I think a lot of us are, because they also fuck BMI, fuck all that. Just, I'm going to say that right now because that's not a real thing. Thank you. An actual in-between body types, and I mean that. An in-between body type is not a size 4 with curves. Like, that's literally what they think an in-between body type is. They're like, oh, look at it. Like, if you guys have not seen Tiffany Ferg's video that she dropped that August 8th, go see that, because you're also going to find a phenomenal, there is a, hold on, there is a whole great channel that I randomly just discovered through Tiffany Ferg's video. I think it's Madison something, Maddie something. I'm trying to find her. Ooh, yes, bitch. Let me see if I can find her here, because I feel like, wouldn't my, does my library tell me where I've been? It's a video called Deep Dive into the Kibbe something, and it's by Tiffany Ferg. I'll link it later. But it's a really good video, and I really like that. But I think her name is like Madison. I'm terrible with names, don't know that. It does make sense because they don't show in between body types. It's only there's 3 body types that they show on TV and movies. It's like model thin, athletic model thin, and then fat. Like, that's it. Those are the 3. Those are the 3 types you're going to see. And somehow they're pitted against each other at one point or another. There's like never, and it's not even actually fat. It's like, you know how there's fake woke? Is there fake fat? I feel like it's fake fat, because like the fat that they show is usually going to be like a size 6 with curves, 4 to 6 with curves. Yes. Leary, in my culture and many Western cultures, it's just normal for your mom to comment on your weight every day. So I feel like I always had a rebellion against a diet as a form of rebellion against my mom. Yes. Hi, Alice. I'm so glad I found you in Legetta Gang. It makes me feel so much less isolated. Me too. I was actually having a really rough day today, and I could not figure out why. It's TV. Yeah. It's TV fat. Like, I feel like there's just, because basically the 2 thin types are the same, just one's more toned than the other. Do you know what I mean? Like, one's athletic and skinny, and then the other one's just skinny. So it's just like, and the thing is, Marilyn Monroe's size is constantly changing based on how they keep changing sizes now. So they really, Marilyn Monroe had a beautiful body, and it's weird that I feel like we went, like, we've never quite recovered to a normal, to like what most women look like today. And that's what I find so frustrating, is like they don't even really even want to talk about us like SpongeBob bodies. You know what I mean? Like, what about us who are square? Like, you ain't gonna rep the square girls. Yes. I love this, guys. I love this. Okay, the fat people they show is acceptable fat, like Ashley Graham. Exactly. Fake fat is a thing. Like how Ashley Graham is praised for being a plus size model, but sorry that exactly. I would agree with you there. I like that about burlesque as well. And you're right, they do, a lot of them do have slim faces, arms, flatter tummies. It's, I'm trying to think of who, Amy Schumer. It's how they, like how Amy Schumer keeps trying to be like, like, because she was in that horrible movie, which we'll talk about that, because I'm going to have to rewatch that pile of shit that she was in. But because I saw like the last of it, like I Feel Pretty, I think is the name of her movie. I don't know what she's talking about in that movie, like, or in general. And she's like, yep, everybody, here's my stuff. And I'm like, But you like work out, like, well, I don't know. It's just weird. I just don't understand how she's representing fat women, or how she thinks she is representing fat women. 5'1", petite body frame, and zero waist, also chunky. I hate clothes, and jeans are the devil. You know what? I don't like wearing jeans. I'm coming to the conclusion that like I really like skirts and leggings because A, they're comfortable, and two, something about wearing a long flowy skirt and like having it swoosh makes me feel like a bad bitch. Ooh, I haven't seen Trainwreck. Yeah. Yeah, Megan Trainor, I don't know why, like, because here's the thing. If we're talking about like thick, right? Because there's so many definitions of what a thick girl is. And I find that, especially, we could talk about this at another time, but when you're talking about online dating and things like that, I feel like using the terms thick, curvy, and voluptuous can backfire in a lot of ways, because I don't feel like we are necessarily using them the way that they're intended, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like what's happening is we're using the term thick as opposed to, if you identify as a fat woman or a fat person and you are like, I am fat, and then you see another person who is fat, and then they are using the term thick, and you're like, but you're not thick because my definition of thick is such and such. And then people have a traditional, what we've seen is supposed to be thick. I feel like it's harmful to people who identify themselves as thick, but they're not the idea of what thick is. Am I getting anywhere with that? So I feel like it's harmful to them because they're on a website or on an app trying to date, and they're saying they're thick when in actuality they would be considered fat. And they're using the term thick because that is a more acceptable term. But when they meet somebody in person, that person is no longer interested because they are fat. Does that make sense? I can't really wear high-waisted jeans because I don't have a waist and I don't have a torso. So I'm loving that. I love how high-waisted jeans look on people. And I know people can say whatever, you can wear whatever you want, but listen, if my jeans are going to stop right underneath my T-tots, that's not cute. Honestly, you feel like thick has been hijacked by BBL bodies. That's my curiosity. I'm actually honestly curious, and I would like to discuss this. That I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want you guys to feel like you have to discuss it here, because I know it's live and people can see you talking about this. So I don't want you to feel like you have to discuss this in any way. And obviously, I am not the person who has the representation of what it is to be fat. I'm honestly curious because I worry that it could be setting people up for failure, and their friends. It does. It does. It does. It does. Because I definitely don't want to take away from anybody. I just want to understand. I actually do honestly want to understand, because I'm always curious about everybody and like the ways that everybody lives and the things that people go through. I think not just because I'm a Black woman, just because I'm a curious person. I want to know what is helpful, what's harmful. I want to hear from people who are going through these things. because I feel like the more that we actually talk, the more that we will understand one another. Sorry, I'm squinting so hard. My eyes are super dry. But I feel like the more that we talk to one another, the more that we understand one another, instead of everybody screaming at each other like people do on Twitter, we can actually come to understandings and hear from other people, instead of everybody just trying to like talk on top of each other. And then everybody being like, you don't get to represent us and you don't get to like, no group is a monolith. So it just starts getting a little worrisome. I know. Angela, I'm grabbing my drops right now because I was about to leave. So we are definitely going to talk about this. I got the drops. I am going to get off of this thing because, one, Bo is snoring. Two, I have some texts I have to tend to. And three, I want to make it easier on anybody who is watching the replay, even though these are pop-up lives. I'm going to try to keep them down to 2 hours. So if anybody, pops in or you're watching it live, I'm going to try to keep them down to 2 hours. If you are watching this on the replay and made it this far, please drop a sunshine emoji. And then all y'all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your kindness and your compassion and your caring. I really do love you all so much. And you all treat me so much every single day. So I appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. And who knows when I will pop up with one of these again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And also, don't forget to leave movies below so that I can just, I can watch some of them. And if I get fired up enough, I'll have another one of these and be like, discuss. All right, guys. Oh, I'm almost there. I'm getting better. It's a struggle every day, not a struggle, bad struggle, but it's something to learn every day. And I'm so thankful you all brought this up to me because I'm still working on it. And thank you for your patience as I do so. Love you all. And until next time.